me go live. Let me get ready to go live. Okay. Go live now. All right. Live. Make sure sound's coming through. Make sure my sound's coming through. All right. Intro two. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Enjoy, like the live. So more people can join. More people can find it and join up. I'm just going live right now. Good evening. All right. Everything's working. That's good. Need this one. Sure YouTube's working. All right. YouTube's working. Everything's working. Let's just make sure it's all good. And we are. So let's get it. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Glenn Alexander, and I'm Christian. And on these nights, I do a series called Ask a Christian Anything, where I'm live and you could join up either as a guest, which you click the button over here, or you put your question in the chat over here, and you could ask me anything regarding Christianity. I try to keep my answers biblical. From the Bible tonight, I'm using this translation, the CSB, for any text I might reference. A really good translation. I just went for my personal devotions and all that. So yeah. So just please like the live so more people can join, more people can find it. And yeah. So we all had a good night. And with that said, let's get it. Let's start the live. All right. So I see someone, Barca Edit says, I was prophesied to spread the word of God when I was 17. So the rapture ain't happening in 2025. I'm supposed to go to Europe and spread the word. What are you talking about there specifically, my friend? Right? Talking about, you said the rapture? I mean, I am hearing about a rapture that people believe in for September 23rd, I believe. But I don't believe in that. I believe it's unbiblical to try to set dates for when the Lord is coming. So yeah, I believe that's unbiblical. I don't believe Christ is coming September 23rd because we don't know, right? The Bible clear, we don't know. We can tell the signs, but signs will just ramp up. We don't know. So yeah. Seed Son says, I haven't read any of the four Gospels. Which one is the best one? Ooh, John, definitely. Now, I like all the Gospels, Seed Son. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Matthew is very, very Jewish in the sense that it quotes a lot of the Old Testament. Matthew uses the Old Testament to support his case a lot, to show how Christ is the Messiah of the Old Testament, how he fulfills those prophecies. So Matthew is very exegetical. Mark is shorter, straight to the point. So it's a less in-depth one, but Mark is very good at keeping it concise and still giving you the synopsis of the story, the basis of the story of who Christ is, what he came to do, and what his mission is. Mark gives it to you very good. Luke is very smart. He's a smart guy, best I could say. So Luke gives it to you easy. You know, Luke tells you what's up. He goes through Christ's birth. He gives you a lot of history. He's very analytical. He's very detailed in his gospel. And that's a positive on Luke's case. But John is very theological. John is the last gospel written. It's very theological. It's very spiritual in the sense that it mentions a lot of spiritual aspects of of Christ, of the Christianity, of the gospel. And John is also very in-depth. I'm telling you right now, the Gospel of John is incredibly in-depth. So if I had to give you one of the four Gospels, which you should read as the best one, I'd say John. They're all great. They all should be read because you should definitely read all of them. But John, I'd say, is the best Gospel. The last one written usually did it to about the 90s AD. So when John was old, the Apostle John would have been old. No problem. I believe September 20th. Wait, were there questions above that? Happy Friday. We are in the season, but we do not know the date. Depends. Depends what you mean by season. All right? Because we Christians generally believe we are in the end times, which I believe in too. We are in the end times, but it doesn't mean we're necessarily in the time of the end. The time of the end in terms of tribulation, persecution ramping up at a unprecedented level, and then Christ returning. I just believe we're in the end times, that we are seeing signs of the end times. For example, love waxing cold, people being more isolated, people being more unhealthy, people being more cold-hearted. We see signs of the end, so we are in the end times, but I don't believe we are in the time of the end in the sense that we are in the tribulation time, rapture time, stuff like that. I believe that we're not there yet, and when we get there, we will go through a tribulation, and then we'll be raptured to spend eternity with Christ. Happy Friday. May God bless you. God bless you too, Jack. God bless you too. Again, if you're in the live, my name is Glenn. I'm Christian. And you could ask me questions regarding Christianity. Put your questions in the chat, or you could join up as a guest, and you could talk to me one-on-one. And I do prioritize guest requests. So if you join up as a guest, I'll speak to you. I'll put you as priority number one. But you could also ask questions in the chat. How do I get closer? Also, please like up the live as well, so more people can see. Bless up, Max. Bless up, Max. Bless up, bless up, bless up. We do have a guest. Hello? Hello.
Yeah, what's up? Okay, so I low-key got a question. Did Jesus love taking the... Because, like, I low-key feel like he was gay in a way. That's my question. I don't know, dude. I just read the Bible, and it's just low-key... It gave me, like, gay vibes, if you know what I mean.
It was just like those apostles, there were 12 men. All of the apostles were 12 men. Like, it just kind of seems gay in a way. Like, why did Jesus choose 12 apostles to be men? All of them are men. It just kind of seems like he liked this.
Could I respond to that?
No, you can't.
Oh, I can't?
Of course you can.
I can respond to your question?
Of course, answer. Yeah, of course. We're interested.
You ready? Okay. Well, here's something Jesus said, right? You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready for you, baby girl.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yes.
Come on, daddy.
You're kind of hot, though.
Dude, honestly, we only joined the live because you looked really good,
I'm gonna mute you just because I want to respond to what you said. You could still. I want to respond to what you said. I just want you to be able to hear me. All right. So you said Jesus gives off gay vibes in the Bible, which is kind of crazy to say. And the reason I said is because look what Jesus says in Matthew 19, verse 4. He's talking to the Jewish leaders. He says, "Haven't you read," he replied, "that he who created them in the beginning made them male and female? And he also said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two will become." StreamYard is so buggy.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Is it echoing or is it working this time?
My stuff is so buggy. Okay, if I mute this, will it still come through?
Is it echoing or is it working this time?
I believe it's working. I could hear you. Speak.
Oh, there's a delay on my side because I said that like 5 seconds ago.
Young Christian, say something.
Oh, there's a delay on my side because I said that like 5 seconds ago.
All right. Sorry, everyone. We're back. Any more questions? You could request up as a guest, or you could join up in the chat. Let me get my mic. Yeah, so any questions, you could join up in the chat. You could ask the chat, or you could join up as a guest, and we'll get to you. My stuff is so buggy and weird. Just trying something, it's bugging it out. Oh, let me get this stuff. Young Christian, I don't think this is gonna work. I don't know, my stuff's just buggy today. But we could test this soon. We could test this at some other point in time and try to get that working. I'm sorry for that, everybody. If there are any questions, you can put them in the chat, or you could join up as a guest, and I'll get to your question. So you could ask away. Any question you have regarding Christianity, regarding the Bible, regarding theology, by all means, ask away, and I'll get to it. Yeah, get to it best I can, God's willing. So yeah. Let me just. Yeah, Young Christian. I don't know if you hear me, but yeah, my stuff is just bugging. So we could try again next time with StreamYard. I don't think StreamYard will work though. It'd be best if you could join as a guest on TikTok. I don't know if your account can do that yet, but that'll be best. But yeah, any questions regarding Christianity, the Bible, theology, you could ask away in the chat, or you could ask as a guest. I prefer if you join up as a guest, so you could talk to me one-on-one. It'd be nice. Yeah, let me see if there are any questions in the chat. Make him a moderator. Make him a mod. Should be yeah. Okay, good. Let's just wait till I get 50 followers. Yeah. That'll be easier for me, way easier for me to do. Feel like 50 followers, man. All right. Those images aren't ours. They're the pictures made from others, not accurate. The Bible doesn't include pictures of people. Oh, yeah, this is long. Oh, that's a good question. Any questions you have, ask them in the chat, or join up as a guest. You could talk to me one-on-one. I prioritize guest requests, so I'll prioritize your question. But yeah, I see a question in the chat already. Why does the Bible allow slavery? I think that's allowed on TikTok to say, amongst other issues. Okay, Shannon, I will get to your question, but I'll allow Amir to join up. Yes. Amir, what's up?
Yo, what's up, man?
What's the word?
Alright, so basically, I just wanted to know, like, on how you guys are on Christianity, right? Who's your guys' God, you know?
Say that again?
Who's your guys' God, you know?
The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Alright. Who's your guys' God, you know? Alright, thank you.
That's the only question? That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Alright.
Have a nice day, Glenn.
You too. Is this Hamza's brother?
I don't know, bro. Is it?
I don't know. Maybe it is. All right. You have a nice day. All right. All right. Bless up. Take care. Take care, Amir. I will allow slavery. Well, in the Old Testament, God allows it because humans are not able to do certain things because of the hardness of our heart. We see this in Matthew 19, where Jesus says, let me get it, Matthew 19, verse 8. He told them, Moses permitted you to divorce your wives because of the hardness of your hearts, but it was not like that from the beginning. So there are certain things that are allowed in the Bible, not because they're necessarily what God wants or his ideals, but because God needs to bring us up to those measures. It's kind of like, what's it called again? I forgot what it is, but God works his plan progressively. There's a progressive working of God's plan in human lives. So in those Old Testament times, the ancient world, slavery was a thing that was happening. So God did not put a total ban on it, because if he did, they would still go against it and get slaves. That's what he knew. So God regulates the practice so that slavery in the Old Testament is for those who are criminals. Yeah, those who are criminals, war criminals or prisoners of war, and those who sell themselves into servitude. The Bible does condemn kidnapping slaves, so anything like the American slave trade, unbiblical. You can't kidnap slaves. You can't basically forcefully take slaves. In the Bible, slavery was regulated to criminals, prisoners of war, and those who sold themselves into servitude. There is one type of slavery in the Bible called indentured servitude, where you worked, where you basically sold yourself to someone to work to gain money because you're poor and you need working. You need someone to work, so you work as a slave for them. You do their house chores, you do their stuff, and then after 7 years, you are freed. Indentured servitude. There's other slavery where you sell yourself into as a slave to someone, and you basically stay their slave perpetually. This is slaves from foreign nations, like Leviticus 25. In both cases, it shows selling yourself into servitude. The Bible talks about taking slaves from these other nations. These slaves would have consented. So it's selling yourself into servitude. The Bible never talks about forcefully taking slaves, only in times of war, when nations come against Israel. In those cases, they have prisoners of war who would be forcefully taken because it's war, right? So these are things God allowed, but it's not God's ideals. And I could talk more on this subject, Shannon. You could join up one-on-one. We could talk more. I could go into the text, because this is a topic that it requires going to the text, being more in depth. But for now, I'll say that slavery was allowed and regulated by God, because if he said no, humans would still go ahead and do it and just break his law. So instead, God regulated it so that people wouldn't suffer as much as they would in the unregulated parts of it. And God, through his ideal, has worked up to where we are now in Christianity, where slavery is not a part of the Christian faith. But in the Old Testament, it was allowed and regulated because of the hardness of human hearts. And it was regulated only to criminals of war, prisoners of war, and those who sold themselves into servitude. That's the answer, Shannon. Hey, brother, how's it going? I got a question. Why does God make bad things happen in the world? Well, your real question is, why does God allow bad things to happen in the world? I don't believe God necessarily makes bad things happen in the world. I believe God allows these things. The Bible does talk about God is the one who makes peace and makes calamity, right? That's Isaiah 45, I believe, right? And we see in the sense that God does things because he's the one that everything passes through. He allows everything. God's the final check. I allow this to happen. So God does allow evil, but God allows evil because of our choice to choose evil, right? From the viewpoint I hold, humans chose in the garden to sin by eating the fruit, and because of the choice that we made, we are now in the predicament we're in. So evil in the world, or bad things happening in the world, Mr. Maple Leaf, are because of us. God actually allowing these things to happen is because of his what's the word? Of his love for us, that he says, okay, sorry, God in his love for us says, okay, because you chose this path, I'm allowing you to walk in it. Basically, humans chose the path we're in, and God is allowing us to walk in our path. So, in regards to my throat, my voice, I'm not feeling the best today. In regards to bad things, evil things happening in the world, God allows us to walk in the path we made. God allows us to sleep in the bed we made. God allows these things to happen because of choice we made. So it's all because of us that God allows these things to happen. Because if God just stopped all evil or whatnot, then God is going against the choice that we made. God is not actually giving us the right to choose, because he's slashing that off. But because he gave us the right to choose, he has to allow us to walk in the choices we made. And because of the choices we make, we are in the world we are in today. For example, because of the choice Adam and Eve made, they were susceptible to death. They became mortal. God could have kept them immortal, but then he's rejecting the choice that they made. He's not allowing them to actually live in the choice that they made. But because God has love for them, he allows them to walk in the choice that they made, sleep in the bed that they have set for themselves. He allows them to face the consequence of their choice because he gave them the right to choose. So bad things happening in the world are because of us. and God allows them because he allows us to walk in our choice, walk according to the will we have, the choices we have made. So it says because of us, it's not because of God. So I can answer. Yeah, I am Christian. Just keep uploading your TikToks on Christian. Your TikTok got a good amount of views, a lot of views actually. So just keep uploading. Guys, please follow Young Christian here so he can get followers and he could join up as a guest so he could answer questions. He's very knowledgeable. He's not of the same kind of perspective as me. He's from a reform perspective, so he can bring a different view to some of these questions and might answer them better or better to you. So you can kind of see different answers and you could choose the answer you like. Which one sounds better? He's very intelligent as well. He's on a lot of live streams. He knows a lot. He knows his stuff. But yeah, Maple Leaf, hopefully I answered you answer your question. So yeah. Have a great night. God bless you too. All right. If you have any questions regarding Christianity, regarding the Bible, regarding theology, you could ask your questions in the chat, or you could join up as a guest. I prioritize guest requests because you could talk to me one-on-one. So you could join up as a guest and we could speak together and you could ask your question. But you could also ask a question in the chat. So yeah, you can ask a question in the chat and I'll get to it. I am going for 15 more minutes because I do go till 10:30. I do an hour and a half. You could call this a show, but it's the live stream I do on Fridays. I go live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays to answer questions about Christianity. We also live on YouTube. I just stream this on YouTube. If you want to watch any clips back, watch anything back, this Bible Level 1, 2, 3, 4, you could join on YouTube. You could watch on YouTube. So yeah, any questions you might have regarding Christianity, regarding the faith, you could ask a question to chat, or you could join as a guest.
I've got a question, brother.
What's the word? What's up?
How can you prove that God is real?
How can I prove God is real? I mean, there are different ways I could prove it, but I just ask, why do you not believe in a God? Like,
I'm talking on a physical level.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, why do you believe there's not a physical God why do you believe there's not a real God on a physical level?
Because I don't believe in God, because a lot of it seems like people are only in it because they're winning. It's like they're winning something. A lot of people, if you told them right now that no matter what you do, you're all going to hell, would they still believe in God the same way? No. So I don't really believe in religion.
But even if that was the case, that wouldn't necessitate that there's not a God, right? Like what you told me that you don't believe in a God, but I'm actually and you're talking about the physical world. So I'm asking you, what is your reason to say there's not a God? What do you go to? Because you're coming, because just like I'm coming to life with a presupposition, with a bias, you could say, that I believe in a God, you're coming to life with a presupposition that there is no God. And you're saying you have the neutral view. So what makes your view the right view? Why do you believe there's no God? Give me
I think when it comes to faith and belief, there is no right view. There's just your personal opinion. And yes, I do believe in evolution because evolution has evidence. And
before I let you go on, that's fine because Christians can believe in evolution too. But Christians can believe in evolution and still believe in a God who starts that process or who facilitates that process. So it doesn't negate a God being in existence. So my question to you still is, why do you not believe in a God? What supports your presupposition? Okay, he's gone. Sprites, was that by accident? But yeah, okay. VB, I'm gonna let you talk, but I'm just gonna finish what I was saying to that last guest. He just dropped out of nowhere. So to finish what I was saying, I do believe in a God, Sprites. You don't, as you said, and we both come to life for a presupposition. But you don't have a foundation to stand on, right? My foundation is the Bible. The Bible tells me there's a God. The Bible is historical. It's evidence. There are prophecies that are accurate in the Bible. These are not evidence for it. We have accurate prophecy about the Messiah, about when he will come. Accurate prophecy. We have historicity, continuity, and we also have the fact of fine-tuning these other arguments that humans are made so specific that we could not be just randomly brought in. There has to be an intelligent designer behind the things of the world to intelligently design certain things. There are many arguments that can be used. But I simply say that we have the evidence to back it up, and our presupposition has something to stand on. But what does yours have? You don't have something to stand on in your presupposition, but we do. So that's what I would say. Sorry, VB, go ahead.
What up?
What's the word? What's up?
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you this evening?
Huh?
How are you doing this evening?
Good?
You good?
Yeah.
All right. What's your question?
Yes, I have like my dad's Muslim and my mother's Christian,
Okay.
but I don't believe anything. So my question is, why should I be Christian?
You don't believe so you're not Muslim, or you're just agnostic
I don't
or
believe
atheist type of
anything
thing?
because my parents was always like, this is right, no, this is right, and then so as older I get, I was like, nah, I don't give a fuck about religion. Sorry for the word music.
That's fine. That's fine. So I'd ask you, similar to the last guest, why do you not believe in anything? Like, what's your reason to say there's no God? Because I'm guessing you don't believe in a God. So what's your reason to say there's no God?
Because of what's going around the world, because I think it was some good power in, so I don't think it will happen like the thing that's happening in the world. Like you see children dying of hunger, you see like children dying in war, like a lot of that.
So you're saying that a good God would think like you do?
No, but I say like if it was a good or great powerful, he will help or do something easier for the human beings.
But what you're telling me is that you believe that a God would think like you do, because you're saying you said that you don't see how a God could be there with bad in the world. I would just say that how do you know that the bad could not just be used by God for one greater good, and could also not just be God allowing humans to walk in the bed that we have made, to walk in the path that we have made. So I'm saying that in what you're saying basically that if there's a God, he has to think like you, which I would say is a bad presupposition.
No, not thinking as me, but helping us what is right and what is wrong. And we all know like children dying in war is wrong. We know children dying of hunger is wrong. And I mean like, why can not Almighty like help them get food somehow or something? I'm not saying like he's bad or good or yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Where did you come from?
Kenya.
Okay.
But I live in Norway now.
I'm talking about birth. Like who did you come from? Let me say that. Who did you come from?
My dad and my mother.
Where did your dad and your mom come from?
Their parents.
Okay, and now go all the way back. Where did their parents come from? Let's keep going.
Their grandparents.
Okay. And let's keep going back. So their grandparents come from their parents, the parents come from their parents. It goes back, it goes back, it goes back.
Yeah,
Where does it
and
start?
then comes the human evolution at the Big Bang.
Okay. You say Big Bang, evolution. Where does the Big Bang come from?
It just coming from the blue. It's
So
just
does
coming from nowhere.
Okay. So you said it just came from the blue. So answer me this now. Does it make sense? Do we not even that yet? Do we see anything in our reality that comes from nothing? Is there anything that you could point to say that this comes from nothing? Do we see that in our modern world today?
Yes.
Give me an example.
You cannot show me where gravity is coming from, but we know it's gravity there.
What do you mean? Gravity is gravity not a law of the universe? Am I wrong there?
Huh?
Oh, sorry. Gravity is a force. Gravity is a force of our universe. Gravity is a force of nature, really. So gravity is a force.
Yeah,
it's
but
not,
you cannot
like,
see it.
comes from
So
something.
you cannot see it. So
Okay, but
if you cannot see and not feel
okay,
it, that means it doesn't exist.
I would disagree there actually.
Yeah,
Just because
that's
you
why I
can't
asked you why should I be
just
Christian?
because you can't see or feel something does not mean it doesn't exist, because then you're saying gravity doesn't exist. What I don't get what you're saying. You can't, well, you could feel gravity, but let me give a better example.
That I
You
mean, like
cannot
you say,
see.
nothing coming from nothing. That's why I use gravity as something as we human beings cannot see
Yeah,
or
but that doesn't
taste or anything.
that doesn't mean it came from nothing though, because gravity is a force of the universe. So gravity is something. So it still comes from something. Gravity is still, because gravity is a part of the universe. I mean, the universe came from something, right? So I'm asking,
Yeah,
where does the
the
universe
Big
come
Bang
from? Okay, where does the Big Bang come from?
is just come out of the blue. It was just
See, and that's where I stop you, because notice this now. Follow me. Everything that we've stated so far comes from something. You said you come from your parents. Your parents come from there. Everything comes from something. This Bible was written on paper. The paper came from trees. The trees came from the earth. They were grown. Everything comes from something. But when you get to the end, you say it comes from nothing. That doesn't follow.
yeah,
That-
but we
that
didn't
is-
find
that is-
papers before
that would
the
be
last.
logic. Wait, let me finish. I'll let you go. I'll let you
Okay, sorry.
continue, but let me finish. That is logically inconsistent, because everything in our world comes from something. This glass came from sand. Glass is from sand, and it comes from something else. Sand is from the universe. Sand is from the earth, right? Sediment or what these things. Everything comes from something. But when you get to the end, the Big Bang, you say, which is fine. I can go with you there. You said the Big Bang, but then you say it doesn't come from anything. That doesn't logically follow. What does follow is that there's a first cause that is uncaused that causes everything. Follow me again. There's a first original cause that is uncaused and yet is powerful enough that it can cause everything that is caused. What we Christians say is this first cause is God. God is the source of everything. He's all powerful. And because he's the uncaused cause, he can cause everything. So everything comes from God. Things cannot come from nothing. All things come ultimately from God, because God is the uncaused cause who brings things into existence. So go ahead, VB. What were you going to say? You're off the screen. You're off the app. So you're muted.
Huh?
Go ahead.
No, the thing I would say, like as you say, as papers did not come like after Jesus, after Moses, after like Abraham, Muhammad.
Sorry, what?
When did papers, like the Bible? You said the Bible is written on paper.
Okay, yeah.
And paper did not exist the time of Christ or Muhammad or Noor or any else like prophet or God.
Well, what I was saying is that specifically this Bible I have is written on paper.
Yeah, but paper did not exist in that time. So
yeah, what I'm saying, as Young Christian says, modern Bibles are written on paper. What they had in that time, they didn't have paper. They didn't know of paper. They didn't know how to make it yet. So they wrote their stuff on parchment, on I think what little leaves or stuff like that. I forgot what it's called, but that's where we get our manuscripts, our codexes. They wrote them on papyri. That's what they're called. Fake it. Papyri, Young Christian. That's what Young Christian says. So they didn't have paper, but that in itself is not my point. Did you get my point?
yeah, but you say nothing can come. So everything comes from something.
Yes, and
does
that make sense to you?
No, actually not.
Why?
Because as you say, like everything come from something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you show me the Bible and say it was written in like papers. And papers did not exist in that time. So what was the Bible written in it? It was written on different. It was written on different materials. Or what? Like
it was written on different materials, but that was not actually a part of the point. So let me ask you again. Do you understand the point that things cannot come from nothing? That doesn't logically follow. Do you get that point? Because what I said about paper That's separate. So do you get that point?
No.
Okay, tell me why. Tell me why it doesn't make sense. Tell me why it doesn't make sense that things have to come from something. Tell me why that doesn't make sense.
Because we come from the human evolution from it was like a small like bacteria or something to was like monkeys to the human beings to like the evolution of human beings.
Yeah, I've heard about evolution.
If you know like
So-
the Wittgenstein
So wait. But even with evolution,
from
like you
bacteria
stated,
to
I understand. Even with evolution, like you stated, it is believed that humans evolved from another species or another type of human, like Neanderthals and these things. You agree with that, right?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm asking you, even with the evolution mindset, humans came from something before. We evolved. We came from something. We started
Yeah,
out as this, and we evolved.
yeah.
We evolved. So even in that paradigm, there's still the act of coming from something. There's a causation. There's causing. That's how we are brought forth. So I'm asking you again, why does it not make sense that everything needs to come from something? Why does that not make sense? You haven't answered me that. You haven't answered that yet. Why does it not make sense that everything needs to come from something? Tell me. I can't hear you right now. You sound muffled.
Now I say like, for example, if I say it doesn't give a sense to me because if I say like when who confessed the chicken or the egg, it's like man never know.
But we do know, because like
We
I
don't know.
said, we do know. First of all, it says it in the scriptures. But secondly, just follow the logical train. If everything comes from something, that means there had to be a start where a chicken brought an egg forth, because the egg first has to hatch, meaning the chicken had to bring the egg. So the chicken would have come first, because the chicken
Yeah,
brings
but
forth the egg.
you need
So-
egg to have chicken, and you need chicken to have egg.
Right. But remember,
So
this is
it does not give sense which come first.
Hold up. I get you. So now listen to me. Just like I said, there's an uncaused cause for everything that exists. Similarly with the chicken and the egg, there has to be a first cause that brings in an egg, because the egg is what caused the chicken. So there has to be a first cause that brings that in. So like I'm saying, there's an uncaused cause that brings in everything, and the uncaused cause created a chicken, which was the first cause, which created an egg, and that caused the repeated chain of chicken, egg, chicken, egg, chicken, egg. So you haven't proved to me why it doesn't make sense that everything has to come from something. What I've showed you and what I'm saying today is that it logically follows that everything in our world comes from something. It comes from something. This was made by all these ingredients. This is a shoe cleaner. This was put together: metal, aluminum, steel, plastic. Right? These things come from something else. These are elements, materials in our world. So
Yeah, some
that's
few
what I'm saying
humans
to you.
find later.
Yeah, that's what I'll say to you. So, do you have any other questions? Because someone else is requesting, and I've been with you for a while. So I'm gonna let this person join up,
Yeah.
and then I'll end it there. So do you have any more questions, or are you good for now?
I'm good.
Okay, well, thank you for joining. Hope you have a good night, all right?
You too. Take care.
Take care. Bless up. Go on easy. All right. Last guest for tonight. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. How are you?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Yeah, just a couple things that you guys were talking about that kind of sparked my interest.
Okay.
So you're saying that the Bible is evidence for you, right?
Yep.
Okay. So for me, I've got the Bible in the category of claims. I'm just wondering, like, what evidence it would take to move the Bible from like the category of evidence over to the category of claims.
What evidence would it take to move the Bible from evidence to claims?
Yeah, like right now, for example, you've got the Quran in like the category of claims, right?
Mhm.
Right. So what kind of evidence would it take to move the Bible from like its position of evidence over to like where the Quran is as a claim?
Oh, well, it would just be if the Bible can be shown as contradictory in what it says. For example, the reason Christians hold the Quran as claims and not evidence is because the Quran makes claims that are contradicting itself. Like that's why they say there's not a dilemma, these things. The Quran has contradictions to the Christian. The Quran claims continuity with the Christian scriptures, yet it rejects that continuity at the same time. So it is claims because it contradicts itself.
And there's no contradictions in the Bible?
Yeah, Christians don't believe that, and there are none. It's inherent.
So you start with the idea that there's no contradictions in the Bible?
I mean, some might start with that, but really, it's just when you read the Bible, you can't find the contradiction. That's how it is. You can't find anything that necessarily contradicts itself. Right.
But okay. I mean, there's lots of contradictions in the Bible, but like you're saying, you're starting with the idea that there is no contradictions, and so you probably have like apologetics for the existing contradictions that are in the Bible.
Well, apologetics wouldn't be bad. I mean, for you to say there are contradictions in the Bible is you coming to a text and as I would say, I'm not being offensive to you. I'm just, as I would say it, you misinterpret it or misunderstand it, and
well, I don't start with the idea that there isn't errors in it.
Okay, that's fine.
But you do.
One sec. Okay, sorry. And that's fine. You can come to it with just a clear view. Okay, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
Sorry about that. As I was saying, yeah, you could come to the Bible just like with your view that you'll read it for what it is and see if there's contradictions, if there's not. What I'm saying is,
I've read it multiple times. I've read the Ethiopian Bible. I'm into biblical scholarship. There's lots of contradictions in the Bible, but if you're practicing the faith tradition, you start with the idea that there are no contradictions in the Bible, right?
That's
so
cool.
You're practicing the Christian faith tradition?
Well, I'm a practicing Christian.
Sure. And so you start with the idea that there's no contradictions in the Bible.
If I could finish, I come to the Bible believing it's inerrant. You're right. What I'm saying is that when you read the Bible itself, there are no contradictions. Like it doesn't have contradictions. When you say
there are clearly contradictions, like with history, with itself, in the book.
If I could finish, when you say there are when you say there are contradictions, it's because of the it's kind of the view you're putting onto it. When I say
I'm just not starting with the idea that there is no contradictions. If you don't start with the idea there isn't contradictions, they're very easy to see.
Not necessarily, because for the Christian, we could see places that you might view as a contradiction, but we could reconcile. These are very easily reconcilable.
No, it's apologetic. Like you're a lawyer for God, right? Like you've already decided it's true, and you've got an apologetic that you're ready to present.
There's no problem with that. Like
there is, because if you had that same view towards the Quran, then the Quran wouldn't have any errors in it, and you would have an apologetic.
I'm gonna mute you because you're cutting me off. Let me finish. I'll let you go. Me coming to the Bible of that view is not a problem because the evidence still points to it being true. And then when I, for example, do apologetics to defend the faith, I see places that people view as contradictions. I could easily see how they're not contradictions. It's like when you understand the Bible correctly, you see these are not contradictions. It's how you understand it. So with you saying there are contradictions in the Bible, it's just you're understanding it wrong. And you mentioned the Quran. With the Quran, we understand it based on how the text puts it, how the text shows it, the principles given out of the text, and the principles given, the text itself still contradicts. It still is contradictory.
So, but would somebody practicing the Quran as a faith tradition say that the Quran had errors in it? Like a Muslim who's a practicing Muslim, would they not say there are no errors in the Quran and then have apologetics for those errors?
I agree with you 100%. What I'm saying is that apologetics has to be able to stand scrutiny, right?
Well, apologetics is a defense of a position you've already taken. It's not like
I agree.
Engaging in a conversation to try to figure out what's true. You've already decided what's true, and you're presenting an argument like a lawyer would. You're like
Okay.
God's defense lawyer.
Okay, fine. And my question to you is, apologetics still has to be able to stand against scrutiny. Do you agree with that?
No, not at all.
You don't agree that apologetics has to stand against scrutiny?
No, it's not logical. It's a defense. It's defending a position. It's not the pursuit of truth.
So when a person has a lawyer who defends their case, you're saying that the lawyer doesn't actually have to stand against scrutiny?
A lawyer
not how
will
that's
defend his position. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So-
nothing would change their mind, right? Like you've already stated that there was no evidence that would change your mind.
Okay, right. And that's how cases are solved in the legal system.
But what I'm saying is there's evidence that would change my mind. Like when I come to a conversation with somebody, I fully expect that my mind could be changed based on new information or new evidence. But that's not that's not a possibility with somebody who's an apologist. They've already decided, and when they engage in conversations, they know there's nothing that's going to change their mind, but the person that they're talking with doesn't know that. So it's like one person knows they're in a courtroom defending God, and the other person's just here trying to have a conversation and figuring out what's real and what isn't real.
Okay, but what are you getting at then? Like, are you here to ask questions?
No, I
'Cause-
don't think it's possible for anything like a God to exist. I'm just interested if you're interested in the truth or if it's more important to practice your faith tradition.
That's presupposing that the faith tradition goes against the truth, though. And you said there's many contradictions. You haven't brought any single one up. You're just presupposing that the faith tradition goes against the truth. I'm saying that the faith tradition is the truth, and we could talk about it. You could bring up evidence that goes against the contrary. I could show you how those might be misinterpreted or misunderstood, and then that show gives us the case, right? You could get understanding, I can get understanding. Just because I do apologetics and I believe this is true does not mean that I am denying evidence. It's because of the evidence that I believe is true, and that's why I defend it.
But you've already said that you can't possibly be wrong. Like, do you care if what you believe is true?
It's not necessarily that I'm just blindly following it, but there's evidence for it. That's why I defend it. So
There's evidence for God?
Yeah, and you're talking like apologetics was against truth, but apologetics is just there to defend what's true. And
Apologetics isn't interested in what's true. It's interested in defending a position it's already taken. That's by definition what apologetics is.
That's a presupposition. Because you're right to say that people that do apologetics hold what's true. I get that. But that's why I asked you if apologetics has to be able to stand up to scrutiny. The answer is yes. Because when you put apologetics to scrutiny, you could decipher what's true and what's false. That's why when you mention Islam, I say Islam cannot stand up to scrutiny. Their apologetics cannot stand up to scrutiny. That's why it's false. With Christianity,
But if you were talking to a Muslim, would a Muslim say it's false?
Let me just land and let you go. With Christianity, you can rightfully criticize and scrutinize our apologetics. You can scrutinize a passage. You can look at this or whatnot. We have to be able to stand up to that and give you a defense for it. So it still is based on evidence.
No, you just have to read what the last apologetic said, and then you're like, oh, it's good. We're fine. There's an apologetic about this.
So what's your question? You were saying something before.
No, I'm interested if you care about believing true things, or if it's more important to you to practice your faith tradition. Because, and I'm using the example of a Muslim, because a Muslim who's practicing a faith tradition would say that the Quran doesn't have any errors in it, right?
You literally just presuppose that apologize go against truth. Like, I am here for truth, and I defend truth through the apologetics. I'm saying that you could scrutinize what I believe, but your scrutiny cannot hold up to it because it's truth. The contradictions you might bring are not contradictions. They fall flat. That's why I said the Bible.
The first two books of the Bible start with two different creation stories: 7-day creation and the Garden of Eden. These are two different creation stories from two different cultures. One's the priestly source. The same reason that there's two stories of Noah's Ark. These are cultures that merged. They're faith traditions. It's not historical.
So so this is a contradiction you're bringing up.
Yeah, the one where God like speaks things into existence over the course of 7 days, and then shows up in a garden and builds Adam out of dirt and builds things in a completely different order. These are
Mhm.
contradictions. I'm not saying you can't find an apologetic for it, but another explanation is that they're two different creation stories from two different cultures.
Could you show in the text how they are two different stories? Like they follow similar patterns. Like you look at Genesis 2, it says, "No shrub of the field had yet grown on the land, and no plant of the field had yet sprouted, for the Lord God had not made it rain on the land, and there was no man to work the ground." Talks about the plants being there, but they just weren't raised up, they weren't grown yet. This will come up from the earth, Lord from God, out of the man of the dust of the ground, and breathe the breath of life into his nostrils, and man became a living being. That doesn't go against God speaking it into existence. It is literally that God spoke into existence, and this happened, right? Plants of the garden in the garden, plants of the garden in Eden, right? Caused to go out the ground every
I
tree.
don't think it's possible for anything like a God to exist, by the way. That's the first assumption I'm not willing to make. I know
Okay,
you
but-
think it's possible and a God does exist and that he created humans and he used humans to write a book, but these are all assumptions that I'm not like willing to make at all.
Okay,
Right? The
cool.
Bible, again, is not
Cool.
the only book that is evidence. It's in the
Cool.
column, the same column that you've got the Quran in. That's where the
Cool.
Bible belongs.
Cool, but you mentioned the first actual claim was that Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 contradict. So I was talking about that. You brought that up to me.
Yeah, they contradict each other and they contradict
So-
how we know things
so-
came to be. Like they contradict
So-
like science.
So that's why I read it, to show you that there's no contradiction. It actually falls in line with Genesis 1. Could you show me in the text where it contradicts specifically? You didn't bring up a text. Like if you say this
What day did God make the sun?
was that the fourth day, I believe, third day? I'm not
Yeah.
too sure.
How do we measure a day here on Earth?
What's your question? Is that your question?
Yeah, how do we measure a day on Earth?
Usually 24 hours, fourth day.
Yeah, it's one rotation, right? In our orbit around the sun.
Okay.
So how were we measuring days before a sun existed?
Well, humans were never measuring days before the sun existed, because we humans were there when the sun was in orbit. But with God, he just measured the days how he would with what he did. I don't know how God would measure them, but he is God. He's the one that made the sun, so he would measure them how he wants to. Like that's come from us believing.
But we
there's a
know God didn't make the sun. We know how the sun formed. We know how the Earth formed as the accretion disk around the sun. Like we know this
How did the earth form? Tell me, how did the earth form?
from the accretion disk of the sun.
How did that?
That's how all the planets formed orbiting the sun.
And how did the sun form?
Gravity. It was a giant gas cloud that pulled itself together, formed the sun, and then the Earth formed from the accretion disk. After cycles of suns like forming and exploding, all the elements that are on Earth today are from the cores of exploding suns.
Okay, and what started these cycles?
Gravity.
Okay, but isn't gravity not a force acting on Earth, acting on the universe?
Yeah, it's a force we can measure.
Okay, so
We understand its effects.
with gravity being a part of the universe, since it's a force of the universe that acts upon us, upon planets and stuff, where does that universe itself come from? How does it come into being? Can you answer that?
We don't know. Science doesn't claim to know where the Earth came from. The only honest answer is we don't know where the universe came from. Our physics breaks down the closer we get to the Big Bang, but like from seconds after the Big Bang right up till today, we have a natural explanation for everything. Like the God hypothesis has slowly got less and less useful, right? Like as we learned, the Earth wasn't the center of the universe, right?
Okay,
and our view of the world got bigger and bigger. Then in the 1800s, when we discovered evolution, we had a natural explanation for the diversity of life on Earth. God didn't do anything anymore. And now the only place he exists is outside in time and space where nobody can measure him.
But the thing is, you like the last guest believe that from the Big Bang everything flows. But I'm going to ask you the same question. How does it logically follow that the Big Bang itself doesn't flow from anything? Because you're just saying
We
that
don't know what flows.
cause, which is the logically consistent answer. right? I could tell you why if you want to know why I say
Well,
it's
no,
not.
but I'm not interested in the Kalam cosmical argument. Like your God breaks the first rule. Something can't come from nothing. Oh, but my God comes from nothing. It's another mystery right on top of it. We could just say, so we don't know where God came from. We could just say we don't know where the universe came from, and we're cutting out an entire mystery. Because again, the only honest answer is we don't know.
If I could respond to you, the first thing you said, I'm trying to get in my head. When we say that it comes from God, it's not that he's breaking the rule. When we say something comes from nothing, we're saying that things in the universe itself have to be created, right? But it logically follows that for something to be there from the beginning.
I understand the cosmological argument, but the only honest answer is we don't know what came before the Big Bang, and science doesn't pretend to know. It doesn't say what came before.
You're saying we don't know, science doesn't pretend to know. But what I'm saying is that there is an answer which logically follows, which is that there's an uncaused cause. You're just saying that the uncaused cause goes against all the rules, but that is the rule itself, that everything flows from something, so there has to be. That's what I'm saying. It logically follows. You're just saying that we don't know. You're not actually going against what I'm saying.
The only honest answer is we don't know what came before the Big Bang, or seconds, like at the very beginning. We don't know. But from like seconds after the Big Bang, right up till today, we have a natural explanation for everything, and there's no God required. So, I mean, if you want to say it was a deistic God that exploded at the beginning, and he has no interaction with us.
There is still a God required, because you're just saying we don't know from where this started. What you're saying is that everything, what you're saying is everything from the Big Bang, we don't need a God. Which fine, you could say that, but from before the Big Bang, you're just saying we don't know. We still need something to cause the Big Bang. That's what I'm saying. You still need something to cause that.
We'll keep looking. We might figure it out, and we might not figure it out. But we don't just make stuff up when we don't know.
So listen, you're just presupposing that it's made up. No, it's logically following that there's an uncaused cause that brings forth all these things that are caused. That's what I'm saying. It logically follows that there's an uncaused cause. You're just saying we don't know. But what I'm saying
we
is
don't know. We have no evidence to believe any of the stuff you're saying.
And here's what I'm saying. You're saying his claims. One, evidence here. Two, in the way the world runs itself.
Remember, it started with two conflicting creation accounts.
No, that's
the God that speaks things into existence, and the other one that melds things into clay.
That's what I'm saying.
One was pleased with his creation, the other one was kicking people out of the garden.
I'm gonna mute you so I could finish what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
In background and was from the couch.
If you cut me off again, you're gone. That's what I'm saying. The contradictions you bring up, they are not contradictions. You misunderstood them. For example, Genesis 1 and 2, you misunderstood them. As we saw, as I read, you didn't bring a verse. You're just claiming these things. You didn't bring a verse to show that they're contradictory. I read the verses there. They follow in line with Genesis 1. They just expound on it, which is what's believed about it. It expounds on Genesis 1's creation account. And again, in regards to what I was saying, you're saying we don't just make things up. It's not made up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's made up. I'm just saying it's what logically follows. That if everything forth from the Big Bang, as you say, comes from something, like the Big Bang, then evolution and whatnot comes from something, then it logically follows that the Big Bang itself comes from something, and it would have to come from something that cannot be caused, so this uncaused cause would cause everything else. I'm saying that logically follows. You're just saying we don't know and you don't want to put something down. I'm saying it logically follows that this is what makes sense. This argument does follow. So that's what I'm saying, right? No, I'm not cutting you off. I'm just saying I'm going to. I said I was going to 10:30, but I made time for you, so I'm going to go to 11, and then I'll cut it off. So you can go ahead. I'm just saying I'm going to 11.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Genesis 1, the creation account order goes light and darkness, sky, firmament, land, seas, plants, sun, moon, stars, sea creatures, birds, land animals, then humans, male and female together. Day 7, God rests. In Genesis 2, the earth is dry. There's no shrubs or plants yet because there's no rain. God forms a man out of dust. Plants are caused to grow. Animals and birds are created and brought to the man to be named. Woman's formed from the man's ribs. These are two different creation accounts. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't spend 2 hours like weaving a tale together that would put these back to back, because the thing that you're using to edit these contradictions is an all-knowing, all-powerful God. And I know you've already decided that there is no contradictions in the Bible, So you will have an explanation for these contradictions. It's an apologetic. It's the same thing a Muslim would do to defend their religion.
You're saying that my answer to what your contradiction would be an all-powerful God, but firstly, the Bible is based on an all-powerful God. That's what the Bible is based on. I mean, that'd be...
Yeah, I don't believe it's possible for something like a God to exist. I don't think we have any reason to believe it's possible for something like a God to exist.
And that's fine for you not to believe that, but when you say I use that to clear up what you say are contradictions of the Bible, it's because that's what the Bible claims. If you're going to attack the Bible, you have to attack it based on the claim it makes. You're attacking from your own claims. That's not going to work. That's like me attacking a book written because I don't believe that should happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's like me attacking a book written like Harry Potter or whatnot, or another book, just because.
But
I don't believe.
you notice though that the Bible is the only book that has this like special place, right? Like every other world religion, you put into the category that I put the Bible into.
Okay, but I still have to critique them based upon what they say and based upon evidence. So what I'm saying
but
is
you don't
that
use the same framework. With the Bible, you start with the idea there's no contradictions. If I sat down with the Quran and started with the idea there's no contradictions and then went from there, I would be a Muslim. Like that's how practicing a faith tradition works, right?
But what I'm saying, that's going back to what I said about apologetics. What I was saying is that with the Quran, when you go for it, you can find contradictions. Just
like in the Bible.
So if I could answer you, me saying I don't believe in contradictions in the Bible is because you can't find them. When you show me a contradiction in the Bible, I show you how it's not a contradiction. You're just saying that's me switching up, or that's me figuring something out. No, that's how the Bible's meant.
You've already decided that there isn't a contradiction. So you're putting all your energy into fixing a contradiction when another answer is it's written by humans. And so contradictions make sense.
But it's because there is no, that's what I'm saying, there's no contradiction. Like you brought up Genesis 2. I could answer Genesis 2. I could give you a full breakdown. The breakdown is that it expounds on day 6. It expounds on that part of the creation story of Genesis 1. That's why it looks different. No, it's just expounding on a specific day. That is not a contradiction. When you go through the contradictions that you mentioned in the Bible, they are not contradictions. What
about the creation order? Like we understand that the earth was after the sun.
I was about to land. I'll let you ask you a question. I was about to land. With the Quran, yes, a Muslim apologist will say there's no contradictions in the Quran. That's fine. He could say that when you sit down and look at the Quran, these contradictions cannot be resolved like how they count the Bible. For example, the Bible, it says there, Genesis 2 expounds on Genesis 1. With the Quran, it says it confirms the previous scriptures, yet it rejects the previous scriptures' notions. That cannot be resolved because the Quran doesn't state how it's resolved. The Bible states specifically, it shows how it's resolved. So I'm saying there's no contradiction in the Bible. Yes, I'm an apologist. Yes, I believe in Christianity. Yes, I come with that framework. But ultimately, I cannot see contradictions anymore because they don't present themselves. They're all...
Yeah, the same way that Muslim cannot see a contradiction in the Quran because he is practicing the Muslim faith tradition. You're engaged in practicing the Christian faith tradition. If you're open to just reading the book and not thinking it was written by a God, you could see these errors and contradictions as well. Like, there's 4 different versions of the gospel story that don't line up, right?
No, that itself is wrong as well, right? And
there's like the 3 synoptic gospels that line up a little better than John.
If I could answer what you were saying though, what you're not getting, I think what you're not getting with me is that I'm saying that yes, a Muslim could say there are no contradictions. I could say there are no contradictions. I follow a faith practice. He follows a faith practice. But when you come to the text and you understand that how it presents itself, that will show you if there are contradictions or not. The text will tell you if there are contradictions. When you say there are contradictions in the Bible, for example, you're not letting the text present itself or explain itself. I say there are no contradictions because the text explains itself. The text answers itself. The Bible answers for itself. The text explains itself. The Gospels explain themselves. You mentioned the Gospel. The Genesis account explains itself. It can be shown how it's not a contradiction. In regards to the Quran doesn't explain itself. The Quran makes a claim, for example, the Quran says that it confirms the scriptures, yet it rejects the scriptures. It doesn't explain itself. It cannot reconcile that contradiction there. The Bible can. Just because I come to it with that view that it's inherent, it doesn't have contradictions, does not mean I am wrong just because I have this presupposition. Because everyone comes to
it does though. Like, have you looked into the critical biblical scholarship, like an academic study of the Bible at all?
I have seen. I haven't looked at too much, but I've seen, like, for example, Bart Ehrman is the main one. I'm talking about
Sure.
the
Yeah.
gospel.
Is there a reason why you're avoiding that? Like, I've read a ton of his books. He's pretty great.
I'm not really avoiding it. I mean, firstly, I think Bart Ehrman mentions how the Gospels. I think he mentioned something about how even with all the textual variants in the Bible, in the Gospels, the message or the theme of Christianity would still stay the same. Like, if you have anything specific he says, you can mention in a minute that you have.
Well, no, I mean, he was like a devout evangelical that really studied the Bible to try to prove it was true. And then when he actually studied it in an academic setting, he realized that it's not true and he can't believe it anymore. And so I really appreciate people who go at it earnestly and trying to prove it accurately, not avoiding ideas that contradict it, come to the conclusion that it doesn't describe reality. Like, it's not a history book. A lot of the stories didn't take place in history. It's a mythology. It's a faith tradition.
It's 11. So if I could just, I'm gonna respond to you, and then I'll end there because it's 11. I already told you. If you see with yourself, you are yourself coming to it for presupposition.
No,
right?
I'm
This
willing
is-
to change my mind. I would be happy to change my mind. I just need evidence, right?
I told you that I'm gonna land and then I'm gonna end. So,
But
please don't interrupt me.
you're telling me that I have a presupposition when I don't.
Please don't interrupt me right now. I'm ending. I'm answering you and I'm gonna end. Don't interrupt, please. If you notice what you're saying, you're coming.
What I think. Just you can tell me what you think.
If you cut me off again, you're gone. It's as simple as that. Please. I listen to you. I'll let you finish. Please let me finish. That's it. As I was saying, you're coming to it for presupposition because you're saying, for example, that Bart Ehrman, he was an evangelical and he left and he went to academic route and he saw it had contradictions in this and that and whatnot. Your view is that if you view it from a Christian lens, that you're obviously wrong because you're just avoiding the evidence. That's a presupposition to say that's presupposing that because you come to a certain text from a certain lens means that you're avoiding it. You're presupposing that. I'm saying that's not the case. There are many, for example, scholars of the Bible in academic fields who are still Christian. We have Christian scholars who talk about textual variants, who talk about these academic things like Bruce Metzger or F.C. Bruce. These are Christian scholars who go into the fields of places where there would be issues with the text, for example, textual criticism, who are still Christian. So it's not just so you having a certain field of view, you having a certain view of scripture, you being Christian does not mean that you will just deny evidence. The evidence points to Christianity. Bart Ehrman just took it a different way. He didn't see that he's an example, sure. But there are scholars who take this view, who look at the evidence and can still hold on to Christianity. You're just presupposing that because you believe in something, that means that you avoid all evidence or that you deny all evidence, you reject everything, No. It could easily be that the evidence points to what you're saying, or the evidence supports you, or that these supposed contradictions, like I said, such supposed contradictions are not contradictions, but are just misunderstood. So I believe I believe strongly that you're presupposing your worldview, which I believe everyone does. I believe everyone presupposes their worldview, and I believe that it just doesn't hold up to scrutiny. That just because someone is not Christian, or just because someone is Christian, that they will reject evidence, or that they won't look at something from a positive light. No. Or from a regular neutral light. No, there's no neutrality. I don't believe in neutrality in these things. Right? Everyone comes to something with their view, with their bias, and they view it that way. I believe the evidence can affirm or deny your view. So that's why I'm going to say the end. I'm done for the night. I told you 11. So thank you for joining. You are welcome back if you want to join next week. But thank you for joining. We had a good conversation. Hope you have a good night. All right? You hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I thought you were going.
Oh no, I just said yeah, I'm done. It's 11. I told you that, so I'm saying hope you have a good night. Thank you for the conversation, and you could join next week if you want to talk more.
If you and maybe when I join next time, if you could tell me what I am presupposing, because I try really hard to have an open mind, and I've examined my epistemology, and I would like to think that any amount of evidence could change my mind on a topic. All right.
Okay.
But yeah, it was great having a conversation with you. I like put up that you're an apologist just so people know who they're talking to, right? Somebody who no amount of evidence could change their mind. And if you're interested in avoiding cognitive dissonance, you're the one who will be able to smooth it out. But I like talking to people who are interested in true and entertaining other ideas, like entertaining the idea that they might be wrong. I think that's really the only way that you can say that you're seeking truth, right? Like if you're going out of your way to seek apologetics to smooth out all these contradictions, instead of looking at other opportunities, like avoiding critical scholarship and things like that, you're not interested in what's true. You're interested in defending this position. And the position is that that the Bible is different than every other book on the planet.
All right, thank you. That's exactly what you just said. Is exactly what I'm saying. You're presupposing a lot of what you say. And when you join next week, if you do, we could talk about that. So thank you for joining. Have a good night. And thank you all for joining the live tonight. We had a good amount of guests. Went on for over an hour and a half, 2 hours, 11:05 now. So hope you all have a good night. Hope you all stay blessed. Get good rest. All the best. Don't make a mess. And at the end of the day, let God take care of the rest. I'm live on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I go live for about an hour and a half. Tonight I went extra. But I go live at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. So next Friday, you could join up. You could ask questions about Christianity. I don't consider myself an apologist. Like he mentioned, I should put myself as an apologist. I don't consider myself as an apologist. I'm aspiring to be an apologist, but apologists, I believe, are accredited individuals who study. I don't view myself at that level yet, but I am defending Christianity, so you can call me an apologist. But that's why I say ask a Christian anything. I'm here to answer questions about Christianity. So yeah, thank you all for joining. Have a great night. God bless. Baba Lava One.